who can admit the patients? So the doctors of the hospital, yes, they can admit, but we don't stop with that. We also open the ICU for outside doctors to admit patients. That is where we want to provide solution to the entire region, not just the hospital. This model is answerable to even to the system. Okay, you are a hospital owner. You are referring out, for example, one or two patients every day. But surrounding your place, there may be 4 or 5 physicians or practitioners who will be also referring maybe one or two patients every week. And why do they refer? Why should they refer to other places? Because they don't have an ICU. In that case, let them connected with this ICU. We will manage their patients also. You will be benefited as the owner of the hospital. They also will be benefited because they don't need to refer the patients out. And most importantly, the patients will get benefited because they now the ICU has become accessible for them within half an hour of reach, and it is affordable right now because they don't need to spend that much amount. At least 50% of the bill they can save, right? So, what is the social impact having an ICU in a rural place? This is a very important slide. I need all of you to kindly mull over this. Suppose you are in a taluk level or a district level place, or even in a suburb of a city. Think over this. If you are referring out a patient from your place, you know, normally that patient spends 15 to 20,000 on travel, no? If it is 1 or 2 hours journey. Okay, you are in a suburb place where patient just needs to go 5 kilometers away to a city hospital, then it doesn't matter. But definitely in a city corporate hospital compared to your place, like if you don't have an ICU, they may have to spend 25 to 30,000 rupees a day extra for the care. Now, average stay will be 5 to 7 days in ICU, and the total extra burden of for such care in on the patient will be so per day 25 to 30,000 multiplied by 5 to 7 days will be approximately 1.5 to 2 lakhs per patient. Now, let us assume that from your place, not just your hospital, from your place, maybe 1 or 2 patients every day are going to a nearby city, which means 30 to 60 patients per month. Do you know a cumulative financial burden on the community, on your community, is approximately 1 crore every month? By you putting an ICU and upgrading your hospital, you actually save this money. Even let us say there are places where you may not agree with me with this number. These are all our research data points. If you say, oh no, only 15 patients we refer, okay, then in that case it's definitely 30 to 50 lakhs from the community. It is being lost. By you keeping an ICU in your place, by collaborating with nearby people, you actually save this money from those patients, from those people. So what next? So what to do to grow further? So what is the time and efforts taken to double the turnover? So why small hospitals struggle to grow beyond a point where whereas in the same time city hospitals grow very far, very fast. They grow very fast. So if you ask me, based on the data that I have showed you, the problems of standardization, problems of establishing departments, problems of thinking, problems of lack of help because of you are there in rural places and your community, what is the problem that they are facing? So this image is, a very good resemblance of a small hospital owner. His problem is, if you ask me to put it in single point, because he is trying to do everything by himself. He or she or they are trying to do everything by themselves. That is why they have this struggle. Let us say, what are the solutions? I told you we have dissected so far. We found out what has been happening so far in rural places. Most of the things you also know. I am not telling anything new here. I'm only reiterating the facts. Now, having gone through all these things, there are two very good possibilities to grow the revenue. Very good possibility. They are straightforward answers. As a hospital, if I want to grow, what are the options to me? Number one, I have to increase the number of customers. For any company, this is not the same thing. Even you take let us say a shoe shop which sells chappals and shoes. How do they increase their monthly revenue? You need more customers to come and buy. That's all, no? And number two, if you have the same number of people, you increase the revenue per person. Each person buying 1,000 rupees. Now, the same number of people, they are buying for 2,000 rupees. Now, your revenue doubles, no? So, either you have to increase the number of people coming to you, or you have to increase the spending of these people on in the hospital. I'm not saying you increase the cost, but increase the services. Now, how do you do? Number one, to increase the number of customers for your hospital. This is a very important slide. It opens up several thinking processes for a hospital owner. How can I get more number of people? Because I have only a small town. My town is only 70,000 or 1 lakh population or 50,000 population. How can I increase my number of people coming to me? You can't increase the population, definitely. Just like that, your town cannot become double the number of population. But you can increase coverage of population. How do you do that? By increasing the services that are not available in 100 kilometers radius or 50-kilometer radius. Let us say you are in a town where the town has got only 10-kilometer radius and you are giving some service. The same service 4 or 5 people are giving in the town. Then you are one among them. Think that you start a service for these people which is not available in 30-kilometer radius. Then your covering population has naturally increased. So from 1 lakh or 3 lakhs, now I've increased to 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. That is one thing. Second thing, give more services. Even to the same number of people, you add the service so that that service is not available in the same place. So that is how you increase the number of customers. They will come to you. Am I making sense here? Okay, second point. How do you increase revenue per person? How do people come to you without asking a question? They pay and go. Simple example. Do you bargain when you go to a mall? Do you bargain when you go to a cinema hall? Because they are fixed. Whereas you go to a roadside, vendor, you bargain. Even if he says this particular thing costs 100 rupees, you can actually pay 100 rupees. Don't we bargain? Give me for 80 rupees, 90 rupees. Why? Because you perceive that that particular thing, item's value is less. So, for people coming to you, for them to perceive that your value is more, you need to have branding in place. Otherwise, when you are not branded, why branded things, branded shirts, branded pens, branded shoes, branded cars are more costlier? Because they are branded. So, number one, you increase services so that each person spends more money, or increase covering population where more people will come, or increase branding so that people will not question you on your services or your quality of services, or they don't bargain with you for whatever you are giving and ask for discounts. So that is where CIPACA adds value by increasing the covering population. You don't have ICU in your place, at least a good level ICU. By giving it, you cover more population, number one. So more people will be attracted. Number two, you are adding a service. ICU is a service. You are adding services now to people to come, and you are adding branding. So by collaborating with India's largest rural ICU care provider, it's a branding for the hospital. Now, the owner can proudly say that it is not just that I started an ICU or I employed some 4 or 5 doctors. Then it becomes my own production. By joining hands with a national level, giant, now it's a brand value for me. For my people, I'm giving you a national level services, not just my level service. That's a brand. Why do you get a US or UK trained doctor to come and give service? Why do you advertise? Don't you advertise when you get people, doctors coming to you from city hospitals? They say that, such and such hospital doctor is with me, or doctor from AIMS, doctor from PGA, doctor from US, doctor from UK is with me. That's what is called branding. Saying that such people are with me is a branding. Now, a national level number one rural ICU care provider is with me. So, branding. So, that improves number one covering population, it increases your service, and it increases perception of people as branding. So, this is how you start getting help. So far, you are alone, to improve grow your business. Now, there is somebody else also working for you to grow your business, grow your hospital. This is how the equation works. Normally, this is how the average, ICU in many of the small hospitals. If you ask me, at least 80% of the hospitals which claim to be having 24 into 7 services, their ICUs are like this, 2 to 4 beds. How on earth a person can get a financial viability on this? Now, you can't definitely get 4 bed, 5 beds, a full team, no? When you don't have full team, how can you provide quality services? And when you can't provide quality services, you settle with only reasonably stable patients, and you start referring out all the sick patients, reasonably unstable patients. So you are losing revenue. For example, if a casualty, you have a practice where casualty admissions are 5 to 10 per day, and then ICU admissions are 1 to 4 per week, but you are referring out 1 to 4 per week. This is how a normal, I should say, the calculation works for small hospitals. Now, each patient who is referred out to nearby city pays a bill of 2 to 5 lakhs in those places, isn't it? If you have retained these people in your place and charge only half of it, one fourth of it for that matter, your whole bill will be only 50,000 rupees. Okay, max 1 lakh or 50,000 rupees in the current hospitals. Similarly, if the high risk surgeries that are not taken up and referred to higher centers for surgery, and if you say that, I not only me, not just my hospitals, but by collaborating with nearby people, I make at least 10 surgeries in my OT, just adding them, okay? And each surgery a bill of, let us say, 50,000 rupees. Is it not an additional revenue for the hospital? So by just increasing 20 ICU admissions a month, and just by increasing 10 high risk surgeries, either you are previously referring, okay, which makes a revenue loss of 30 to 40 lakhs a month, and if you retain them, will reverse this. Even if I say it works only with a probability of 50% less, 50% probability, still it adds to 50% revenue of your turnover, monthly turnover. These are the numbers, these are the statistics. I told you already. We are going to dissect down, and we are going to talk only data and statistics and values. So now you please calculate that, by not having an ICU, what am I actually losing, and what am I taxing my people with? My colleagues, my other healthcare professionals, so-called competitors. You know what? We are all competing with the small shops. It is like small, these vegetable shops, or the shops that sell the, cooking, um, what do you call them? The utensils, small general shops. It is like this. We are all like that in small places. How do you take this, the competition to the next level? Just transcend the competition. Simple answer. The moment you become a supermarket, everything else will become a redundant. Nobody can compete with you. Simple. How long will you be competing with that, with those people at the same level? It is said that eagle, how does eagle take the war with snake? When if the snake is fighting with eagle, eagle does only simple thing. It just holds the snake and then flies. The moment it flies, snake has lost its territory. The battle has gone into the next level. Sky is not the territory of the snake, no. Eagle can be on the land, also in the sky, but snake can only be in the land. Now, when eagle catches the snake and then flies into the sky, now snake loses the battle automatically. In the same way, All these people who are currently the competitors, in and around some 10 to 15 doctors who are also seeing the same services like you, the moment you put an ICU, they become actually your customers. They start utilizing your services. They also start, because you are becoming somebody who is beneficial to them also. Then you are actually including them into your domain, and that is how it works. This data again came from 2017 data, and the WHO has given this data saying what is the cost of critical care in India. Average, see, this is only an average cost of treatment. If it is a cardiovascular disease, approximately 3 to 4 lakhs. But if it is a lung problem and needs ventilation, please see here, 20 lakhs. Of course, cancer care, other things. You just see, for you to give cardiovascular care, you need to have cath lab. For you to give cancer care, you need to have radiation department oncologist. For you to treat liver diseases, I'm not talking about liver transplants, general liver diseases, a good ICU is enough. Maybe if you don't have a gastroenterologist, a good trained physician is enough. Now, kidney diseases, of course, you need to have dialysis department. But combine these three problems: cancer related critical care, liver related critical care, lung related critical care. A good ICU can cover. A good ICU can cover. Now, I want to draw your attention to this. If a patient needs ventilation, is spending 20 lakhs on critical care, you know, an average turnover of a small hospital, I told you, will be anywhere between 40 to 50 lakhs a month. Whereas in city hospitals, two ventilator patients are paying this amount. That is the value of ICU. In my previous slides, I explained. I took each patient's care in city hospital. I said only 5 lakhs. Treatment cost, I took only 5 lakhs in all my comparison slides. The data from WHO says it is actually average cost is 20 lakhs. So I have taken the average calculations at 25% rate. And even I have discounted 50% out of it, which means at 10 to 20% of probability of working model for you in the hospital, by having an ICU, you have 5 times chance of doubling your turnover in the next 2 to 3 years time, just by having a good ICU in your place. That is the probability of success or growth of a hospital, you know, of the hospital in rural areas or suburbs if you don't have a good ICU. Even if you charge, that's what I said, 25% in your rural hospital, 10 such patients will give you double the turnover. 10 admissions. I am asking whether you are referring out or not immaterial. Of course, you should have that data in place. By just joining hands with such people, 4, 5 surrounding people, joining hands, not competing, joining hands will solve your problem altogether. You are there already at the double with double the turnover.